All right, so you should have your notes from March 23rd. So today we're looking at the volume of predominantly a cube and then another type of, so prisms and cylinders. So for the volume of the cube, notice that it says V equals S squared. S cubed. S is the side of the cube. So it's essentially, if this was 4, it'd be 4 times 4 times 4, right? Length times width times height. That's the volume that you normally know. So when we're looking at, for example, example 1, postulate number 23 says the volume addition postulate. So the volume of a solid is the sum of the volumes of all of its non-overlapping parts. So if I were to take this picture down here and break it up into cubes or prisms, I would then be able to find the area, or the total volume of this figure. So that's essentially what we're going to do, is we're going to break it up into how many cubes we see. So you can see kind of these faded lines here of where you would see cubes. You can also just break it into sections that you can easily find the area of. So I'm going to break it into this section here. And then I'm going to break it into this section right here. So now I've got 3 different prisms that I'm working with. So if I look right here, this total is 7. But this section right here is 2 units. And this section right here is 1 unit. So I got this 1 unit from right here, right? Because if it's in the back, it's going to be right here and right here. So if this section here is 2, this is 1, that's 3 units total, which means in the middle right here is going to be 4 units. So I've got 2 plus 4 plus 1 ends up giving me 7. And I know that this total down here is 7. When I'm looking here now, I've got 2 units is kind of this base. So that means this is 2 units over here. So if I want to find the volume of this prism right here, which is a cube, notice that it's 2 by 2 by 2. So the volume of section number 1 is going to be 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Units cubed. When we're talking about volume, we're always talking about units cubed. Hopefully that helps. So that's volume of section 1. That's this section right here. That's volume 1. Volume 2 is going to be this little section in the middle. So volume 2 is 4 by 2. It's still 2 going backwards. But the height of it is only going to be 1. So I have 4 times 1 times 2. 4 times 1 is 4, times 2 is 8. And then over here I have volume 3, which is going to be 1 unit, which is right here, 1 unit by 2 units, and then it's 2 units tall. So I have 1 times 2 times 2, which 2 times 2 is 4. So that's the volume of each of the 3 sections. Now to find the total volume, we're just going to add them up. 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 4 is 20 units cubed. Now, I could also break this into individual 1 unit cubes and count them up. So I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I could separate them out, right? If I were to put them together like Legos kind of, there would be 20 individual cubes. That's where I get this 20 units cubed. All right, so the next two ones that we're going to look at are volume of a prison and the volume of a cylinder. So here, we've got volume equals area of the base times height. So notice this big B right here equals area of the base. The base is just whatever your figure would sit on. So if I'm looking at this Rubik's Cube, right, the base is just what it's sitting on the bottom. Or like if I were to flip it over, this would be the base. So it's whatever your figure is sitting on. Same thing goes for the volume of a cylinder. The volume is area of the base times the height. A cylinder, though, has a circle as its base. So in this case, it's still the area of the base, but the area of the base is going to be pi times the radius squared. That's just for V. The volume, though, is still area of the base times the height, area of the base times the height. So it's the same for both of them. It's the H for height. So when you go to do your practice today, some of them will give you the volume, and it will ask you to solve for the area of the base or the height or something. So you're going to have to plug in the information that you know in order to be able to solve. All right, so let's look at the two examples. So example 2 is finding a right trapezoidal prism. The nice thing is that it tells you it's a right trapezoidal prism, which means the base is going to be a trapezoid. So you can see that it's sitting on this trapezoid right here. Base 1 is going to be 6, and then base 2 is going to be 14. So let's find the area of the base first. So the area of a trapezoid is B1 plus B2 times the height. Let me just double check that. Oh. Let's rephrase that. 1/2 B1 plus B2 times the height. So you just got to add a 1/2 in front. 1/2 B1 plus B2 times the height. So area of the base, B1 and B2 are interchangeable. So I have 1/2 of 6 plus 14 times the height of the trapezoid. So remember, we're still talking about the area of the base, not the height of the prism. So this is the height right here. This 3 centimeters tells us how tall the trapezoid is. So we're going to multiply that times 3. 6 plus 14 gives me 20. Half of 20 is 10. 10 times 3 gives me 30. So that's just the area of the base of the trapezoid. Now to find the volume, remember I have the area of the base times the height. So this H is the height of the actual prism, which is right here. This 5 is the height of the prism. So I've got 30, because that's the area of the base, times 5, because that's the height of the prism. $30 times 5 gives me 150. Remember, I have to use my units, centimeters to the 3rd power, because we're talking about volume. All right, the right cylinder. So notice a cylinder, we're going to look up at theorem 11.7, volume of the cylinder. We've still got volume is base times height, area of the base times the height. But remember, the base of the cylinder is a circle. So that's going to be pi times the radius squared. The radius of this circle, even though this is on the top and the bottom are the same. So pi times 9 squared. 9 squared is going to be 81. We'll just leave it as 81 pi for right now. 81 times pi. So that's the area of the base. 81 pi. My volume is going to be area of the base times the height of the cylinder. The height is 6 feet. So I've got 81 pi times 6 feet. There's two ways that you can write this out. So I'm going to do two different ways. I'm going to do 81 times 6. Which gives me 486 times pi. So you can write it as this, 486 pi feet to the third power. Or you can multiply that 486 times pi, and you get 1,526.81 feet to the third power. Same thing, two different ways. Your classwork today is finding the volume of cubes, prisms, and cylinders. So just remember, you have to find the area of the base and then multiply it times the height of whatever your figure is, whatever your actual solid and shape is. All of these videos will be posted on Miss Hawkins Math. .weebly.com. It'll also be written on the board to your left. I hope you guys are enjoying your Wednesday and that you're doing well. You got one more video tomorrow, and then you'll be almost at spring break. I will see you guys later.